Hello, I'm just going to try to get my computer on here as well so I can see comments and let people join. And then also sorry that I was a little bit late today. My work day got a little crazy, so had to join a bit later. So let me see if I can pull this up as well. Turn the volume off. I'm not actually sure how I can find it on there. This is my first time ever going live, so I do apologize. Let's see if I can find it. Oh, good. Christy, you're here. Can you hear me okay? All right, I don't know how to find it on my computer, so hopefully I'm able to see the comments in here. If you could put a comment in the chat, that would be really helpful just to see if that is something that I can see. It's my first time kind of doing all of this and just trying to figure it out. Let me see if I can find it. Okay, well, hopefully it's working. I don't see anything in the chat, so I'm not sure if the chat is gonna work, but I'll just go ahead and go through this, keep my fingers crossed, and if all else fails, I'll just do it again. So just to start off, I'm Ellen. I'm a new crone to the group. And like I said, this is my first live, so please bear with me. And I'm gonna be doing an astrology series, and I'll teach you all about the basics on how to read your chart. So I've been working with with astrology since I was in high school, which is a long time ago. So that's about 20 years, kind of on and off at the beginning, and have really kind of in the last, I'd say like 10 years, really taken a deeper dive into it. And I still consider myself like a novice and maybe like an advanced beginner in this space. Astrology is really complicated and can be really overwhelming, and it truly is a science. So it's the type of thing that if you are really interested in astrology, it's something that you can continue learning forever. It doesn't have a dead end, or once you learn the basics you kind of know everything about it. It's something that you can really, you'll never probably learn everything there is to know about astrology, plus it's always changing, which is really cool. So saying that, I don't want you to feel like you can't do it. It is very mathematical, and I know that can intimidate a lot of people. There's numbers, angles, charts, all kinds of stuff. But I'll try to break this down into like a really easy way. So we don't have to learn calculus here. It's kind of like the basic arithmetic if you think about math, and I'm sure that all of you, were able to do that and more. So I'm confident that you will be able to learn astrology. So first, just want to go over a really quick history about astrology. So it is defined as a divination that consists of interpreting the influences of stars and planets on earthly affairs and human desires. In ancient times, it was considered to be the same thing as astronomy, although that has definitely changed for the modern time. Astrology originated in Mesopotamia, which is the present-day Iraq country. And that was originated between 3000 and 2001 BCE. So it has been around for quite a long time. And then it spread over to India and then to Greece, where it was developed into the Western form of astrology that we'll be working with today. There's lots of different forms. There's also Eastern astrology. It's quite different. I don't know much about it myself, but that's a whole nother area that you can look into. So for this series, we're really just kind of working with the Western form. And the Western form was developed in Greece during the Hellenistic period between 323 and 31 BCE. Then from Greece, it moved back to the Islamic culture and then to Europe during the Middle Ages. And the Europeans were especially interested in alchemy to create gold. And a lot of this all goes hand in hand with some of the symbology and things as well. So today, we're really going to be talking about the astrological symbols. And, why do we want to learn this? There's a few different things. So the first reason is, it makes it easier to reference your chart. Once you know the symbols, you can, see how it's sitting on your chart. Most of the charts that you'll find online and places like that, they'll have the symbols displayed on the graphs. And this just makes it a lot easier for you to read and reference. And the more that you work with them, the more it's just second nature to know exactly what all of those different symbols mean. You'll also start to recognize symbols that, these symbols are very ancient, and you'll see them around in different things. So some examples of those would be the artwork in your tarot cards. So the tarot cards were really built with astrology intertwined. So maybe not all of the really modern types of decks, but anything that's based off the Rider-Waite. There's a lot. So, you'll see those symbols in a lot of the different versions of the tarot cards, and Oracle uses them sometimes too. You'll actually see these sometimes on buildings, especially older buildings. The Masonic group uses a lot of astrology symbols as well. So sometimes they put them in there, or just other groups would put them in their buildings too. You'll see them on ancient artifacts, furniture, art, especially in art, clothing designs, etc. A lot of people work with these symbols. And then, you can also use it for divination. So as you're working with nature, seeing the way that like sticks and rocks and leaves are on the ground, it might make one of these symbols. And those are all really great ways to, work with the symbols as well. And then, of course, when you're meditating or doing any type of scrying, maybe the smoke will make a symbol that looks like one of the planets or one of the astrological symbols. Or if you're working with wax or something, you might see that as well. And, the importance of that is just like anything, right? Anything that we're using is, as you have different correspondences for the signs, you're going to be working on your own inner work and finding like what that means to you. So if you're looking for, like, for instance, if you wanted to like go to battle for something and then you saw the Mars symbol, like that could mean a sign like, hey, you should really like fight for this. This is important for you. So that, just kind of a quick example. And let's see what else I got here. Sorry, I'm losing myself in my notes. Okay. So the other thing is that they're also like sigils. So you can really think of them as a sigil. You could work with them the same way that you would. These are going to be ones that work in the collective. So thinking about how tons of people through generations, through thousands of years have worked with these symbols. What is the word I am looking for? It's like an egregore. So that could be a whole nother live, but basically the more that you work with these symbols aligned to other people, you tap into that collective power and potentially even your own past lives or your own future lives. If you believe in that, that's a really great way to work with them in your craft. So now going into like how we do use them in the craft. So my favorite way to work with them is through journaling. Every time that I, do something, or I want to write a note about something that happened, or a dream, or some type of coincidence, or even a spell, I put the date down, and then I look at the numerology for that date, and then I also put the sun and the moon down and what symbols that they're in. So we're in Cancer right now, and I actually don't know what the moon is in today. I think, I don't know. I don't want to guess, but if you know what the moon is for the day, then you would put that down as well. Actually, I think it's in Scorpio today. So I think it would be Cancer and Scorpio. So you could put those down. And if you are like journaling every day, which, you know, some people do. I go through phases. So phases, you know, some phases I am putting stuff down, other days every day. And then other times, you know, I won't even touch it for a month or two. But if you are working through stuff every day, you know that the sun will change signs about every month. You know, there's 12 signs in a year. So it's kind of like around the 20th of each month it changes. And then the moon sign changes every 2.5 days. So it gets a little bit, you know, easy to go if you're journaling every day. And then the numerology, you just add another number each day until the month changes. So actually, it looks like I put this in my notes, which is great. It's organized before. So today is actually a number 4. So we know that like for the 16th of July, that's 2024 is an 8 year, and then July is 7, and 16 breaks down to 7, so that puts us at 22. You add 2 and 2, and that's a 4. So today is a number 4. The sun sign is in Cancer, and then the moon is in Scorpio. So if you think about what the energies for today would be, number 4 is very stable. Cancer is a nurturing, motherly sign with, you know, in touch with feelings and moods. And then Scorpio is very discerning, instinctual, and sexual. So for the energy of today, there's definitely some conflicting energies, but it could be a good time to really focus on creating stability in your life, caring for your mental health and emotions, and building structure, you know, for your family or the people that you're living with, or even doing sexual magic at home. Those would all be like really in tune with the energies of today. I'm glad I put that in my notes. I wrote these a couple weeks ago, so I forgot. And you can also use, just like you would with sigils, so if you wanted to work with these energies, you can carve them into candles, wood, wax, you know, draw them out like however you would want. Okay, so now I am going to switch gears, and I'm actually going to draw each of these symbols out and, you know, write them down, or just like I'll draw them out on a piece of paper and kind of tell you like what the symbol is. Let me see if I can see comments. I don't think so. So I do apologize. I know we've got a few people live. If you have comments, I can't see them and I can't figure out how to get it on my computer, but I will definitely answer any questions in the chat after. And if you know you are watching the replay, you can definitely put them in and I'll keep an eye on the chat as well. So I tested this out where I'm going to flip my camera. It wasn't the easiest thing in the world to do because I have it on a mount. So just give me a minute and we'll get this to work. Let's see. Oops. You'd think they would make these a little easier, but of course they don't. 1 second. Okay. Flip this. Can I flip this? Well, it's not there. Okay. Sorry if this is making you all really dizzy. I apologize. All right, and hopefully you can see that. Okay, so to kind of start off, which I think I'm gonna have to stand while I do this. Okay, so to start off with Aries, Aries is a ram. So Aries stands for I am, and it is like it's supposed to be the face and horns of the ram. I feel like this is way too small for you guys, especially if you're on mobile. Let me see if I can do it a little bigger. Oops, paper moved. But it's basically a little ram's head, the face and the horn there. And then for Taurus, we have, Taurus is the bull. So Taurus is all kind of about, you know, I have, and it is a circle with the little bull horns up here. And then for Gemini, Gemini is the twins. So this one is kind of like a Roman numeral 2. Sorry, the paper keeps moving. And this can be like 2 people, or it can be just, you know, thought of as like a Roman numeral 2 to showcase the duality. And then for Cancer, we have, there's kind of 2 lines of thought with this one, but basically it's like a little circle with a line and then another circle with a line underneath. And they, you know, can be kind of curved or straight depending on how you like to draw it. So one line of thought is that it's like 2 arms, and it has like the little like pinchers of a crab because it is the crab sign. And then because it also does represent the feminine, it can also be represented as breasts. So that I've heard 2 lines of thought. You can kind of pick what you like. And then for Leo, that one is all about like strength and creativity. And this one is going to be it's supposed to be a lion's head with this little kind of thing coming around. And that is the lion head with a mane and tail. Okay, so now moving into Virgo, which is the virgin or the maiden. So this one is kind of like a little M with this little like kind of twisty thing off like that. Sorry, that's not the greatest drawing. Oops. It's actually really hard to draw while I'm standing. So this is supposed to be like a maiden carrying a shaft of wheat. And then the balanced curl at the end is supposed to be like really, like almost like, actually I think I drew this upside down. This is what's going on. So you draw the M, and then it has like, you can have this little twisty thing going on right here. And that's like the balanced wheat piece going on. No, actually it does go the other way. Sorry, my notes are hard to read. I'll send you all these. I'm having a brain fart right now. But anyway, Virgo does not look like that, but it's something along those lines. And then Libra is all about balance. So for this one, it has the scales underneath like that. And that's supposed to be like the scales of justice that you'd see kind of, you know, on like the justice card in the tarot. And for Scorpio, this one is like a scorpion with a stinger. So it has the same M that you see in Virgo, and then it just has like the little hook of the tail for the stinger right there. And then for Sagittarius is the archer. And this is the archer's arrow coming through here. So that's like the bow and arrow of the centaur. And then another line of thought, because so Cancer is like the mother, Sagittarius is like the father. So this could be a bit like phallic, I guess, would be the best way to describe it on here. So if you think of like Cancer as the breast, then you might think of Sagittarius as, I don't want to get Facebook mad at me, but the male parts designed here. So that's kind of another line of thought. And then for Capricorn, so Capricorn is like a little V shape with this like symbol thingy underneath. And that is supposed to be the head of the goat with the hindquarters of the fish. So this is like the little horns and then the fishy body in the back. And then Aquarius is going to be the water bearer, and then this one is ripples of water. sorry, the paper keeps moving. It does not make my life easy, but it's just supposed to be like little water waves. And then Pisces is 2 fish on a hook. So this is supposed to be like 1 fish mouth, and this is 1 fish mouth, and then the line across here is like the thing that is carrying the fish, hanging from a string. So those are all the signs, and just kind of a little bit about like what they mean. They actually are supposed to be like indicative of the sign itself, and give you some insight into that. So I hope you're able to see. I'll try to bring it a little closer if anyone wants to take a screenshot. And I can like get, I can drop like an image that has all of them in there too, because my drawing is not that great. You can, especially for Virgo. All right. So I also want to go through the planets. So let me just grab a new piece of paper under here. Okay. So for the planets, there's like the classical planets, and then we have the modern planets. So what that is the classical planets were basically, you know, they didn't know that there was all these planets in the sky because they didn't have the tools to really see all of them. They went in a different order. So they just kind of did it from brightest to dullest because they assumed that's what like made them closer. But of course now with modern science, we know that that is different. So, you know, use that how you want in your craft. But the classical planets are the sun, the moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. And then, you know, with the modern planets, we also have Uranus, Neptune, and Pluto. So I'll show you what some of these look like for the signs as well. So again, these are really helpful to use as you're kind of working with just everything that we talked about before. Okay, so the first one is the sun, and this one's super easy. It's like a circle and a dot. And basically the sun, it represents like your ego, your life energy, and your self-expression. So it's basically kind of symbolizing that, you know, you are the dot and your ego is the outside, but you're also like the outside. And sometimes there's other lines of thought with like different practices and things too, that can be like the outside is the communal and the inside is you, and you're all part of all of it. But essentially, however you want to believe, it's basically, you know, you are the sun. It's kind of yourself, and that's what we look at in astrology. And you know, the really basic astrology, like most people know their sun sign. So then the moon is really all about your emotions, your inner being, and the moon is a really easy one too. It is just the you know, the crescent moon. Sorry, that's not the best drawing, but basically it's, you know, the 2 curves, and it fits into the moon shape. So it's kind of obvious on that one. And then for Mercury, we have this one is all about communication and intelligence, and you know, how you think and reason. So this is actually supposed to symbolize the god Mercury. So we have a little circle with the curve on the top and then down here. So Mercury, you know, is the god of communication, and he had the little winged cap. So that's what the piece is supposed to be there, is like the piece on top is the winged cap. And it can also represent the caduceus, which is the staff of Hermes or Hermes. And, you know, you see that a lot with medical practices and doctors and things too. So that's kind of the symbol there. And then for Venus, this one is like the feminine energy. So, you know, the signs, I think everyone's really familiar with Venus here. But Venus is basically, you know, supposed to be like the goddess kind of holding the mirror on here. And then Mars, again, you're probably really familiar with this, but it's the circle with the little arrow. And this is, you know, masculine. So again, kind of has that phallic look, just like Sagittarius. And it's the, you know, it's Mars, it's the god of war with a spear. So that's what that symbol is supposed to be. And actually, historically, it was a little bit different. So it had a circle with a little line like that. And I believe they switched it to the arrow because it's like, if it's rotated or something, it looks a lot like Venus. So it kind of helps make it make a little more sense on there. So then with Jupiter, so Jupiter is about like expansion, luck, and achievements. And we have a little curve here with a line. Kind of looks like the number 4, but it has this little hook thingy. And that is the symbol for Zeus. And it is also the hieroglyph of an eagle. And then for Saturn, we have, this is supposed to be the scythe or a sickle, and Saturn is the god of seed sowing. So basically this is like a little line with a little line up there, and then we have like a hook on this side. I guess it kind of goes out like that. And so these are the classical planets. And one thing I want to talk about is the symbols that are used and the duality that is in here. So as you can see, there's actually 7 planets, but they come in 3 pairs of 2, and Mercury kind of has its own thing going on. So Venus and Mars is kind of the obvious pair. So there's basically 3 symbols that are used. There's a circle, this curvy thing, and then a cross. So those are the 3 basic symbols that are used in the classical astrology symbols. So you can see here that Venus and the old version of Mars used the circle and the cross. The sun and the moon use really just the curve symbol. So there's 2 of them in the moon, because normally if you just draw another one inside, it makes should make a perfect moon. Kind of harder than it looks. And then if you put them across, it's the sun. And then for Jupiter and Saturn, they go in pairs, and they use the curve and the cross there. So Mercury is actually the only one that uses all 3. So if you know anything about like alchemy and things like that, you're combining all of the symbols here, and Mercury is oftentimes associated with alchemy. So that's kind of what that means, and a little bit of history on those. So this is the classical planets here, and then we'll go into this is going to be the modern rulers on this side. So these ones on here, we have Uranus, and this one looks a lot like the sun. So we have a circle with a dot and then a little arrow on top. And this is supposed to be like a combination of the sun with the spear of Mars. And basically this is all about the personification of heaven. So it's dominated by the light of the sun and the power of Mars. So that's kind of what that looks like. You'll also see it sometimes drawn like this. And I think it is the same. That's not supposed to be attached there. I think it is supposed to be essentially the same thing. But I normally use this one because it's easier, but both are really valid. And then for Neptune, this one is going to be the trident. So I think of course, Neptune's trident, and that is what it looks like there. And then Pluto. So I know this is like not a planet anymore, but yeah, it still has significance as like a modern ruler in astrology. So take that for what you'd like. But then basically this is just like a P and an L shape like that. So it's the monogram of the letters P and L which stands for Percival Lowell, who is the person that discovered the planet, now not planet, but that is what the astrological symbol looks like. Again, I can't see your questions, but if you want to put some questions in the chat, I will get to it right after about any of these. So there's actually tons of other symbols. There's asteroids, aspects, and just, I mean, it's kind of endless. Like every asteroid has a symbol. There's just so much out there. But I'm going to teach you 2 other common ones. And then, you know, we'll kind of stop there for today. So these are going to be just a couple of other ones to look at. So we have Chiron, and Chiron is basically the wounded healer. This is an asteroid, so it's not a planet, it's an asteroid. And it is supposed to look like a centaur. So it's kind of like a little circle with a little K thing up on top. And that's supposed to be the upper body is the human. So he's, you know, standing with his hands out, and then the lower round body of the horse. Just like a Chiron, or sorry, just like a centaur. And then for the node, there's the like north node and the south node. So they're flipped, but this is really all about like your destiny, your karma, the direction that your life is supposed to go into. And it is the, it's a dragon. And so this looks like 2 little circly things, and then they kind of connect under like that. And I think you're supposed to make it in like one swoop, but sorry, this is the south, but I'm not good at drawing that. And then the north node is like this. And this is kind of the main one that you'll use, is the north node here. Let me try to draw this better. Sorry guys, it's very hard to stand and draw for some reason. Yeah, this is the one you'll kind of work with the most. They're always in opposition, so they'll be like completely on the opposite side of your chart. So if you were like had the north node in Aries, then you would have your south node in Libra, so it's always directly across. And basically the south node is kind of like what you bring from your last life and you're bringing into your new life. And it's supposed to, this is like the head of the dragon. And then I guess if it's upside down, it's the tail, but don't quote me on that. For sure, this is like the head of the dragon. So that is all I have for today. I hope this was helpful, and I hope you can see everything okay. I'll bring this up a little closer as well if you want to take like a screenshot or anything. And yeah, basically for the rest of the series, I'm going to go through how to, a quick live just on like how to actually get your chart online. You do need to have your location of birth and also the exact time of birth. So that should be on your birth certificate, at least if you're born in the United States. And if you were not born in the United States, I don't know, I'm sure every country is a little different, but you do need to know your time of birth. If you don't have it, you know, you can try to request your birth certificate, or ask your, you know, parents for an approximate time, if they're around. And yeah, if you're like adopted or something and you don't have it, then it's just unfortunately is limited in what you can look up about yourself. So for the next live, you know, try to have that ready. It'll be a quick one, and then I'll go through like how to start looking at your chart and looking at how things, like what the houses are, what the planets mean, like in those houses, and break it down from there. So thanks for bearing with me with the little kind of technical setups. I'll see if I can figure out how to look at the comments for the next one. And yeah, let me know if you have any questions. Thank you.